Hello everybody and welcome to episode 10 of my Java game tutorial series. We've reached double digits, is a good thing, I guess. So in this episode we are going to get items into the game. We're going to just create the base for the items like we did for the tiles, as well as creating a tile entity that goes into an item entity that goes into every tile. And you can set these to have something pretty much. So if there is one, pretty much over the tile there's an item, which is kind of cool. So without further ado, let's jump into it. So first we're going to create a new package. This is going to be item, right? And in here we're going to create a new class and it's going to be called item. So this is the item base class. What this is going to need is a public string name, a public buffered image texture, and believe it or not, that is it for now, at least. So what's wrong here? Why is there an error? Let's just quickly reopen it. Okay, so now all that's left to do is create the constructor. So we want this to take in a string name, buffered image texture. There we go, and we're gonna set this dot name equal to name, this dot texture equal to texture, and there we go. Believe it or not, that is it for the item class. So now what we are going to do is create an item so we can see kind of like if it's working. So we're going to create a stick. So what we're going to do is create a new class. It's going to be called item stick. There we go. Now what this class does is it extends item, right? We just have to hover over the name and add the constructor. Now we don't need anything in here. And for the name, let's just enter this. Oh, let me change my keyboard settings quickly. For this we're just going to put in stick, and the texture is something we are going to have to create. So in our res folder, what we're going to do quickly is create a new folder. We're going to call this folder tiles. Okay? Now what we're going to do is we're going to select these two, we're going to move them into the tiles. There we go. Now what we're going to do is we're going to create another folder. This one's going to be called items. Okay? And I'm just going to paste it in. I already have a stick created. You can get it from the link below probably. And it's just a super simple little stick here. I'm going to zoom up on it so you can see it better. I am definitely not an artist, so if you want to make your own stick, feel free. Anyways, so that is that. After we have that, all we have to do is tools. Actually, what's it called? Loader dot. Actually, so we're going to create our new loader dot, make sure we import it, dot load resource, and the path is going to be items, items / stick, and the file type is going to be PNG. There we go. Now before we continue, what we're going to want to do is in the dirt tile and the grass tile, what we're going to want to add before that is tile / grass. And then for the dirt tile, you'll want to do tile / dirt. There we go. That's just so we don't run into errors later. So for now, that is it for the item stick. What we're going to do now is create an item entity, which can get rendered above the tile. So we're just going to do this in a very simple way. In the tile class, we're going to create actually in the item class, we're going to create a new class, call this item entity. Now what this is going to consist of is, of course, an item. It is going to consist of an int. Actually, let's just make it take in a tile. It's going to have an int lifetime and an int life lived, I guess. I'm going to change that later, that name. So now, when we take the constructor, there we go, we are going to take in the item, the tile, the int lifetime, and there we go. So now, in here we're going to set this dot item equal to item. This dot tile equal to tile, and this dot lifetime equal to lifetime. There we go. So now we're going to do is a public void tick and a public void render. Graphics object with G in there. There we go. So now in the tick method, what we're going to do is we're going to set lifetime plus equals 1, right? And up here, we're going to also add a boolean is alive. Now in here, I'm going to set is alive. Actually, let's do this dot is alive equal to true. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to check, actually, life lived. We have to add one too. So now we're going to check if life lived is greater than or equal to lifetime. What we're going to do is alive equals false. There we go. So now in the render method, we're going to check to make sure it is alive. Okay. And then what we're going to do is we're going to do g.draw image. And we want to make sure we get the right one. Whatever, just select this one. And we're going to put it at tile.x. Does that work? Tile.x plus 10. And the y is going to be tile.y plus 10. The width is going to be tile. We're going to do tile dot size. Oh no, not tile dot class. Tile dot size minus 20. And here we're going to do tile dot size minus 20. And you can just set this equal to null. What's the problem now? Right, okay, that's a dumb mistake right there. We have to, of course, put the image we're gonna render. So the image is gonna be item.texture. And there we go. That is it for our item entity class. So now, what we have to do is get into the tile class, and in here, what we're gonna do is we're gonna give it an item entity item entity, item entity. And actually, just for now, let's make it an array list in case we want to add more than one of item entity. No, that's not supposed to happen. A new item entity. So item entities. This is going to be equal to a new array list. There we go. So now, once we have that item entities array list, in the render method, all we have to do is we're going to check if, no, actually for item entity I in item entities, I dot render. There we go, and we're going to copy that up to here. First we're going to create an isAlive check here. Now if it is alive, we're going to do I dot. Actually, we want this to happen no matter what, because just because you're not rendering, I guess, the chunk or the tile, we still want to update the entity's lifetime. So I dot tick. So now in here we're going to check if I dot. Actually, for this one, we're going to have to make this array list copy on write, because if we don't, we're going to get some really weird exceptions when we try to remove it. So that's super simple. Then just hit Control-Shift-O and that's it. So now we're going to do if I dot is. We want to go into the item entity class and create a get is there? Yeah, get is alive. No, we can't do that. So I'm going to create a public boolean is alive. Now this is going to return is alive. There we go. So on the tile, we're going to check if I dot is alive. Actually, if it's not alive, so we're just going to add the not thing there. Then we're going to do item entities dot remove, and we're going to remove I, just like that. There we go. So now, just for testing purposes, when we create this, what we're going to do is we're going to do item entities dot add a new item entity. No, not a new item entity. Actually, yes, a new item entity. And the item is going to be a new item stick. The tile is going to be this. And the lifetime is going to be, let's say, 10,000. There we go. Actually, let's set it to 1,000 so we can hopefully see if it's working. So there we go. Now if we launch that, it'll take a while to load the map. Alright, so I have figured out the problem. The problem was, it wasn't actually taking a while to load. The problem was that in our trials, we put tile, not tiles. So that's just a stupid problem there, but it's an easy fix. So now, I will quickly change my world size back up because I was turning it down for testing, of course, to see what was wrong. And now, there we go. Right, and also, this stuff is not happening for you. Don't worry, just for me. So now if we launch it, it's going to take quite a while longer. As you can see, the blocks now have those, and after a while, they should get removed. So if we just wait, there we go. Is that cool or what? It's not amazing, but I mean it looks kind of cool, and in the future we'll add other features to it, such as rotation and fading and just changing the size. Just stuff to make it look cooler. So anyways, this episode was a little bit longer. Sorry about that. Hopefully it wasn't too long. But thank you all for watching, and I will see you in the next one.